Hi, and welcome to Get a Clue Dad, a Tweens Mysteries podcast. I'm MJ.
And I'm the dad, Aidan. And this is our second episode.
Wow.
Okay, so we have only just recorded and posted the first episode, but it happens to be a snow day here, so we thought that it would be a good idea for us to power on and get straight into episode 2.
Nice.
But even though we've only just posted, we've already had some lovely feedback, and we wanted to give a shout out to some of the people who have been very kind about the podcast so far.
First off, we want to thank Brad for his lovely comments about the podcast.
So Brad said, "This was utterly charming. Hosting a podcast has been on my own bucket list for a long time, so please tell MJ that I'm horribly jealous that she ticked it off her list before I could tick it off mine. Once you've gone through the Wells and Wong series, I hope you get a chance to look at the Adventures on Trains books and the Sheila Turnage books. The former series contains wonderful mysteries set all over the world, and the latter series takes place in the South, just like MJ, and has a fantastic female heroine or narrator."
Well, thank you, Brad. We'll look at maybe doing these books in the future.
And then we had another piece of feedback from Shelley, and they said, "Love everything about this, super cute."
And give it a heart. Thank you, Shelley.
And then finally, I had another piece of feedback that came in the form of a handwritten note, which is quite unusual. And this actually appeared before the episode went live, but it said that I needed to consider doing some more up-to-date, hip kind of language.
Oh, great.
So I decided to let that cook. At first it seemed a little Ohio or skibbity to me, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I could really upgrade my riz.
Oh, great. By the way, this is how not to do child slang. I just want to let that be. This is how not to do it.
Okay, I hear you. I'll drop the Gen Alpha talk. So let's just dig into the second book in the Wells and Wong series, Poison is Not Polite. So what I want to do, and if you haven't heard the first episode yet, I encourage you to go back and listen to that. But we're going to begin with sort of a general chat that's kind of spoiler-free. And then we will have a special section
Called the Spoiler Alert, my favorite part of the show,
where we're going to dig into everything and kind of talk about
who did it,
why they did it, kind of
how they did it,
all of the details of the crime. And we'll finish with our general feelings about the book.
Yes.
So if you're ready, let's go ahead and get started. So Poison is Not Polite has a different setting than the first book.
Daisy's house.
Daisy lives in a big country mansion, doesn't she?
Because her father's a lord.
Do you remember his name?
Yes, it's Lord Hastings.
And if you are a classic mystery fan, you might recognize the name Hastings as being the name of Hercule Poirot's Watson-like character, Captain Hastings. So I wonder if that's a little nod to the kind of classic detective stories that Robert Stevens likes. But you're right, this is her family home. So we're seeing her in her house, surrounded by her family, and Daisy is one of her guests, isn't she? Because what's happening at the start of the book?
So basically, as you remember in the last book, they had to close down the school during the holidays.
Yeah. So everyone is sent home, aren't they?
Yes.
But something very special is happening for Daisy.
It's Daisy's 14th birthday, I think.
No, you're right. You know that, even if her mother doesn't remember. So
Yeah.
she is turning 14 and she's going to have a very special children's tea.
Yes, a children's tea for a 14-year-old.
Yeah, I think that wouldn't fly for you for your birthday, would it?
Depends on the tea. I'm not talking about like real tea though.
So before we even get to that though, there's a bit at the beginning where we find out who our victim is going to be, don't we?
Yes. And that victim is Mr. Curtis, my least favorite character.
Mr. Curtis isn't a very nice man, is he?
Nope.
And we find out that everybody kind of dislikes him.
Almost everyone dislikes him.
Almost everyone dislikes him. That's a very good point. We'll get into why in a little while.
Also, sadly, in this episode, I wasn't able to catch the murderer. And I'm so sad about it. Sadly, my dad got it.
We'll get into why I was able to catch them in the spoiler section. But let's talk a little bit about our murder method and then our murder victim. So our murder method here is a little different. And if you've read the title of the book, Poison is Not Polite,
or the UK version, Arsenic, for tea,
then you will have a clue as to how Mr. Curtis died.
Arsenic, if you can't guess.
He was poisoned, right?
Yes.
Arsenic is a poison you find quite often in Golden Age mysteries.
Hmm.
One of the reasons you find it is a poison that is present in a lot of houses at that time.
It's rat poison.
Rat poison, right. And we know that this big country house has a rat problem, doesn't it?
Not a little one, a big rat problem.
And Mr. Curtis may be the biggest rat of them all, right?
Yes.
He is not a nice guy. Tell me what the deal is with Mr. Curtis in a spoiler-free way. We're going to just go up to the point where the murder takes place. What do we know he's done?
Well, he cheated with the mom.
He's having a secret affair with Daisy's mom, isn't he?
Yes.
Right under her dad's nose.
Literally.
Yes. So he's also being a little skeezy, right, around the house in terms of he's looking at things.
Very suspicious, making little notes in his journal.
What's he making notes about?
How much it's worth.
So that's a little bit sus as well.
And this one, the strange thing is the investigation starts before the murder happens.
Yeah, so in the first book, the murder happens basically on page 3 or page 4, doesn't it? Here, we find out who has been murdered, but then we have a big gap where we watch things kind of build up and play out before the murder takes place.
Because I think in this one, you actually need the build-up to understand how each of their motives or alibis would have worked.
That's a good point. You are waiting for the murder to happen because you assume that all of the detection will happen after the murder's taken place.
Yeah.
But some of the biggest clues are dropped before that murder happens, right?
Yes.
Well, we'll come back to our general impressions of the book. We always say that there are 5 questions in a mystery novel.
Who, what, when, where, and why?
So which of those questions do we have at the start? We know who is going to die.
What? Poison.
We know poison is used.
We just don't know the specific type of poison unless you know the title of the UK version.
So really what we're looking for is which of the people have a motive and who had the best opportunity, right?
Yes.
So one other thing about this book is it uses a concept that you find all the time in classic Golden Age detective novels. It is what's called a closed circle mystery. So what do you think a closed circle mystery might be?
Where 3 or 4 people could have done the murder, but no one else could have.
Okay, so there are some reasons why no one else could have done this murder, right?
Yes, it would have to be poison.
Well, there is another thing going on that kind of stops people being able to come and go from the house, right?
Yes. Flood.
A flood. Okay. So why can people not get to the house because of the flood?
Because there's this big storm happening right after he dies.
Right.
And the doctor has left.
So we know that the murderer must still be
inside the house, which is
Inside the-
kind of creepy.
It is
Not as creepy as the last one, though.
No. Well, I would say there is an added angle, though, that
That
is
could be-
even creepier. Because think about it. What is the other thing that's different between the last book and this book? Who are our suspects in this book?
Daisy's family.
And this, I think, gives this book a very different texture than the first one.
Mhm.
Because there's an emotional component. This is really important because depending on who
Yeah.
this person is who did the murder, it could really affect Daisy's life enormously, couldn't it?
Yes, because she could lose one of her family members.
Okay, so you said that there are suspects who are members of her family.
These people are Daisy's great aunt, Uncle Felix, Daisy's glamorous uncle, Lord Hastings, Lady Hastings, Daisy's mother, Bertie Wells, Daisy's older brother, Chapman, the butler, Stephen, Bertie's school friend, and Miss Austen, Daisy's governess.
And we're going to dig deeper into some of those characters in the second part. Now, as you say, a lot of these people are part of Daisy's family. So how is the way that the characters investigate this case different as a result of Daisy being connected to them?
Well, they have to kind of dig down for secrets and eavesdrop a lot.
Right?
Because Daisy's mother has one trait that I really hate about her.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't want Daisy to be around the grown-ups. She doesn't view Daisy as a grown-up. She views her as a child.
As a little kid, right? She doesn't even remember how old Daisy's going to be on her birthday.
She thinks she's turning 13, not 14.
Yeah. Does Daisy investigate a little differently based on her feelings?
Yes, she does not want it to be her father. They even have a little breakdown in the book.
Yes, so this is really upsetting to Daisy. And I think that it does change the relationship between the two of them as investigators. But there is another reason that this case is investigated a little differently, because the two of them aren't on their own, are they?
No.
What happens to the Detective Society?
They get 2 temporary members.
Okay. And who are those temporary members?
Beanie, adorable, and Kitty, a little bit less adorable.
But those were two of your favorite characters from the last book, weren't they?
One of them was.
Oh, Beanie.
Yeah.
So how did you feel?
I do not like Kitty for most of the ways that she treats Beanie in this book.
Mm. So were you excited that Beanie gets to be part of the Detective Society?
Yes, though I think she really does kind of hate it.
She is a little bit scared, isn't she?
Yes.
But they find ways to be useful, and I think that it changes the dynamic. I think it's nice to get that little bit of Deep Dean appearing in this book.
Yes, but sadly, I have a suspicion that they won't be appearing in the next book.
Well, we'll have to see. I hope that we get to see them again, though. Now, there is one more character who returns in this book, Inspector Priestley. Do you have any feelings about Inspector Priestley?
Who?
He's the police detective
Oh,
from
that dude.
that dude, right. So once again, Priestley, another classic Golden Age detection name. There is an author called John Rode who wrote a series of books about a scientist, Dr. Priestley, who uses science to kind of solve crimes. This Inspector Priestley is part of the police, and
He's a detective.
he is a detective. He shows up towards the end, just like in the last book, but
Yeah.
the relationship's a little bit different here, right? Because this is a crime that the girls are going to get to solve themselves.
Yes, because he actually doesn't want that much of a part in this one.
Mm. And he can't get there for the longest time thanks to that rain, right?
Yes. Clever the murderer to do it around the time a storm was going to happen.
Mm. Well, that's an interesting idea, whether it was timed.
Well, they couldn't get any inspectors in until very late, which would mean the murderer would have more time to
Right.
cover up the evidence.
It does give them a little bit of an ability to kind of hide some stuff from the crime scene, right?
Yeah,
Because some of the mystery is not just who did the murder.
but some of the evidence has gone and taken.
So I did just want to throw out a few things that I really liked about this book that I think are worth mentioning. And maybe if there's anything you want to highlight in the spoiler-free section, you can. But if you read the book, one of the things that I adore are these amazing maps.
Oh, you took what I was going to say.
And there's also
Oh,
a
they've got-
family tree as well, right?
Oh, I didn't see the third floor.
So, yeah, on the inside covers the US edition, there's like this amazing map of Follingford, which has all of the details from the grounds. And then just past the title page, you get, of course, the listing of characters, but then you have these beautiful, beautiful maps as well.
The first 3 floors.
And this shows you where everything is in relation to each other. Have you come across books with maps before?
Yes, a ton.
A ton of maps, okay.
School of Good and Evil.
Well, I love a literary map. These can sometimes be really useful
To
for
tell
working
where
out where
everything-
things are in relation to each other.
One
And-
thing I have to say though is when I first got the book,
Mhm.
I forgot that the name of the title was Poison Not Polite, and I thought someone was gonna get stabbed in the maze.
Oh, wow.
Cause that's like the ultimate like place where everyone dies.
Well, a maze is a common murder location in Golden Age mysteries. So yes, that would have been an interesting place.
Or someone drowns in the lake.
Or someone drowns in the lake. Though this map says it is a dried up lake, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I really love the map. I think it's really
Beautiful.
quite charming, and it definitely helps bring the location to life for me. And you see that in the book, you get this lovely sequence where the characters go to a doll's house that is a recreation of the house, don't they?
Yes.
And they use it to kind of work out how things were done.
Yes, I think that's really smart. Another thing I do want to mention is I also found out just after we had posted our first episode that they might be making a movie. And if that does happen, I would love, and when I say love, I mean love, to do a post on my dad's blog about it.
Well, we will see if that happens. It's supposed to be a TV show. Studio Canal have the rights to do the TV adaptations. And from what's been said, the first season would be books 1, 2, and 3. The second season, books 4, 5, and 6. And the third season would be the remaining 3 books. So that'd be pretty cool.
Wow.
I hope it
Yes.
happens, and maybe we can do podcasts about them if and when it does.
And we could do, if they do have it, we could do like a special edition where where we compare the books to the special amount of episodes per book
Yeah,
thing.
we will work that out. Now, my last thing before we get into the details, for the people who want to drop out and don't want the spoilers, can you give me your quick feelings overall about this book? Did you like it? Did you think it was as good as the first one?
Yes, I did. I thought it was even better.
So, what was it about this book that appealed to you even more than the first one?
Drama, drama, drama.
So, yeah, there's loads of adult drama going on in this one, isn't there?
Even more than the teachers. And they had a lot of drama.
Yeah, I think that in some ways it's easier for everyone to understand some of the secrets that the adults have in this book. I think that they're much more directly stated.
Hmm.
And I think it helps that we get to see some of it unfold, right? We're not just told rumors about the teachers' feelings about each other. In this case, we get to see Lord Hastings confront Mr. Curtis and tell him he has to leave. And we get to see Mr. Curtis kissing Lady
Ew.
Hastings.
Ew.
Yeah, I know. So,
That was not a good move on the mother's part.
no. So we have all kinds of stuff that we get to see, and I think that it makes it a little more engaging. I
Wow.
really like the first book. I love the second one.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in order to explain why, we probably need to get into our second section.
Spoiler alert! Dun dun dun! Dun dun dun.
Okay, so if you've got to this part of the episode, you have hit the spoiler alert.
And if you have hit this part of the episode and you want to log out right now because you haven't read the book, you're free to leave.
Okay, I think they were free to leave before.
Well, hopefully you didn't leave. Oh wait, if you left, you're not seeing this part. So
Yeah,
thank you for not leaving.
absolutely. So we're going to begin by talking about each of the suspects. And we're
Ooh.
going to work towards the person who we know did it. And when we get to the end, we're going to dig into why they did it and
How they did it.
how they did it. So let's get started by discussing Daisy's father, Lord Hastings,
Wow.
who I think is probably the biggest suspect for much of the book.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons that I think he is such a huge suspect is because his behavior quite noticeably changes from the start of the book
Yeah.
to the point after the murder. So when we first meet Lord Hastings, what is he like?
Prankster.
Can you remember any of the pranks he pulls?
The whoopee cushion.
He's kind of a bit of an overgrown kid, isn't he?
Like
And
you.
like me. Okay, well, thank you. He is, I would say, of the 2 parents, the one who is closer to Daisy.
Since he actually can remember how old she is.
And what would you say his motive is?
The mother cheating with him.
Yes, Lady Hastings is having an affair, isn't she?
Yes.
And so if Lord Hastings does the murder, he does it because he is wanting his wife to not run off with Mr. Curtis.
Which we learn later in the book he has done before.
So, yes, we do learn that Mr. Curtis has had previous history of having affairs with the wives of rich men.
How does he know Lady Hastings?
You mean Mr. Curtis?
Yeah.
I get the feeling from stuff that Bertie says that Lady Hastings has had admirers before, and she spends a lot of time in the city, in London, and her husband, Lord Hastings, spends more time out in the country. But we don't get a huge amount of detail about how they kind of connected. All we know is that they're very close, that Lady Hastings thinks that he's going to help her sell some of the stuff so that she can buy furnishings that she actually likes.
Mm-hmm.
Because the house is quite old, isn't it? It's a family home.
Yeah. With tons of bedrooms. Tons. Like, they're using like half of the bedrooms.
It's a big fancy house, but it's probably not a very practical house. And in this period, a lot of these old houses, it was becoming extremely difficult for the families who owned them to afford them anymore. So I think you get little hints of that in this book. It's not the main focus, But this is, once again, another thing that you find a lot in those early 1930s and 1940s mysteries, that these big, fancy country houses, they're perfect for entertaining lots of people, like Lord Hastings is doing, but they're not very practical to live in. Now, Lady Hastings, you said she's having an affair with Mr. Curtis.
Wow, who knew?
Who knew? Well, Daisy knows, and Bertie knows, and Hazel knows, right? They all catch them.
Except for the dad until later in the book.
Yeah, the dad seems to be a little oblivious, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But he doesn't stay oblivious all the way through because, of course, he tells Mr. Curtis he has to leave. Now, Lady Hastings might be a suspect, but there are a couple of things that make her pretty easy to rule out.
Number one, she was having an affair with Mr. Curtis.
And it doesn't seem like they'd ever fallen out, right? But there's something else that she does that someone who had committed a crime is not likely to do.
Call the police.
Why would someone who's committed a murder not want to call the police?
In case they catch them. Though, it could be a pretty smart move to do the opposite of what a murderer would do if you were a murderer, which is what I had been thinking when I was accusing her.
Okay, so you thought this was the character you believed had done the murder?
My first suspicion.
Okay.
I thought they had a falling out, because if you remember, they did have a falling out.
She was your first thought. Who was your second thought?
Chapman.
Chapman the butler. Okay, let's jump ahead and talk about Chapman then. Why did you think that Chapman the butler had done it?
Because there's a whole book series on a TV show called The Butler Did It.
Well, there is definitely an idea that in old mysteries, butlers do it. I have to say, I've read a load of old mysteries. It very rarely is a servant.
And also, he could have access to the poisoning.
So, yeah, there is that thought, right, that he has probably keys to everywhere. He can go get the poison. And he does something that's a little bit odd after the poisonings happen, right?
Yeah.
When everyone's asking him questions, does he kind of give lots of information?
No. Because Lord Hastings put salt in Mr. Curtis's tea.
Right, but it doesn't look like that, does it? What does it look
No.
like he's done?
He's poisoned.
Right. So it looks pretty bad, and Chapman sees this, and Chapman, being a dependable old servant and, who's been with the family for years, does he want his employer to go to jail?
No, because then he doesn't get paid.
So Chapman is keeping a secret. He just isn't keeping the kind of secret that we think he might be keeping.
Yeah.
So let's get into some of the other members of the family then. How
Can
about
I tell you my third suspect? 'Cause I actually had three suspects.
you had a third suspect? Okay, who was the third person you thought?
Bertie.
Bertie. Okay, so Bertie is Daisy's brother, and Bertie is a little outspoken, isn't he? He kind of tells the mom off at points. So you thought it might be Bertie. What would Bertie's motive have been?
Anger. Pure anger. Not because he was mad at his mother. I think it's just anger that he's built up over the years.
Okay.
But
And
then I thought he didn't really care about his mother.
and also he comments that the mother has done this before, right?
Yes.
So I think there's a sense he's not panicked the way that, say, Daisy is panicked, because Daisy doesn't really have the
So
knowledge
then we're
of
on to my fourth suspect.
your fourth suspect. Okay.
This book kept on getting me thinking. I thought for a little while it might have been Uncle Felix.
Uncle Felix. Okay. So Uncle Felix is mentioned in the first book. There's a rumor about Daisy at the school, and it's all to do with her uncle. Remember that the girls are speculating, does he work for the British Secret Service?
Oh, yeah.
Right. And Miss Alston then is our other main suspect.
And then we go to my final suspect.
Okay. Well, let's talk about Miss Alston for a second. Let's not just blast through her. So Miss Alston is a governess who is hired right before Daisy comes back to the house.
Mhm.
What is suspicious about the way that she's been hired?
She always carries everything inside her bag, and she kind of begs for the job.
That's a little bit sus. And then there's
Mm.
something else when they look at her references, isn't there?
The spelling of some words.
So there are some spelling mistakes made in the references, right? And someone who's a professional governess would be expected to spell those words correctly.
Yes.
I have to say, I thought that she was also a thief. So I got that wrong. I thought that she arrived early to kind of scope some things out before he arrived.
That's really smart, though.
Well, it wasn't smart because it was wrong. However, I did get the actual murderer's identity right.
Wait, Can I say my final person before you reveal
Okay,
it?
you say the final person.
And then finally, before I realized who it was, I thought it was Birdie again.
You thought it was Bertie again?
I went back on my thoughts. I was like, well, wait, Uncle Felix. Wait, no. What am I doing? I don't get it.
Okay, so we've run through everyone else.
And I think it's time to reveal our murderer, which is
Dun dun dun!
Stephen.
The friend of Bertie Wells. Okay, so let's talk about what Stephen's motive is.
So his father has gotten scammed by Mr. Curtis before.
So, yes, his father gets
And-
scammed out of all of their money, doesn't he?
And the watch.
And his watch, which we see Mr. Curtis wearing. And he then takes all of the money, and Stephen is now in extremely reduced circumstances. He's a tuition student at the school.
Yeah.
He's gone from a position where he had a lot of money to not having very much at all. And he blames Mr. Curtis. Now, Mr. Curtis doesn't recognize him because quite a long time has passed, right?
Yes. But the watch, even if he didn't recognize him at first, the watch would have been a real thing.
Right.
And
So,
also, I want to make one point out. I do think that at one point in the book, Hazel might have had a crush on him.
oh, you think so? I think Hazel has a different reason.
Why?
Because Hazel is an outsider.
Mm-hmm.
She knows what it's like to not be in the same social sphere as the people around her. And because his family have fallen on hard times, Stephen is also not in the same kind of lifestyle as everyone else.
So he's like the Hazel Birdie's relationship.
Yeah, exactly. Because he talks about how all of the people at his school are lords and high noblemen,
Mm-hmm.
and he is just a regular guy
Yeah.
who's only there because he's really good at school. And it's only because Bertie is so friendly, just like Daisy, that he is able to make that kind of a connection.
Mm-hmm.
So there is some kind of parallel between the two. Now, he does have that motive. Here is the thing that I found less satisfying about the book. So remember how we talked last time about the idea that a mystery can be fair?
Yeah.
So a fair play mystery is a mystery where the reader gets all of the clues and is able to use them to work out the killer's identity.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons that it was a little tricky for you to work out the killer's identity in this book is that one fact that the detectives have access to, even if they don't recognize its significance, is kept back from the reader. So do you remember there's this point in the book where we get Mr. Curtis's little notebook?
Yeah.
What's in that notebook is a list
Oh,
of
the last name.
the list of all of the different people he scammed, and we get a number of different names. And the moment we saw that, I was looking backwards and forwards with the character list, trying to work out if there was any overlap between the names mentioned and anyone in the character list.
Bampton.
Right, Bampton does not appear in the list of names mentioned, but when we get to the end of the book, the characters go back and find his name, or at least the name of his father. And I think that if we had had Bampton thrown into the list, it would have been fairer for the reader.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I still thought that he would be the killer, and there are a couple of reasons. One of them is I thought it would be really horrible if it was any of Daisy's family.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that Robin Stevens would want us to feel terrible at the end of the book.
Yeah.
The second reason is I felt like we were going to have someone who was ruled out of the murder
Mm-hmm.
who would be found to actually be guilty later on.
Yeah, like Miss Griffin.
I just don't know if it's fair. Did it bother you, though?
I felt bad for him though, because Mr. Curtis robbed his family. I do feel like, even though he shouldn't have been murdered, I think he should have been taken to prison.
That's
I'd rather report Mr. Curtis for doing this, because he has the proof.
right. So he had a way of getting justice, didn't he?
But he didn't take it.
Towards the end of the book, just like this book is kind of set up by the first book, there's a little bit that sets up the third book where it feels like it might do.
It's when the dad doesn't want Hazel
Hang out.
with Daisy.
So maybe we're going to get to see a little bit of Hazel's family in the future. Well, I think this is probably a good place to stop this
Aw.
episode. But We have plans to do more of these in the future. Now, if people want to follow us, what should they do, MJ?
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
I've always wanted to do that.
So, yeah, you can subscribe. And if they want to leave comments, they can.
And you can leave tips for a book that we should do in the future after we're done with this series.
Yeah, just like Brad did, right?
Yes, thank you, Brad.
So we hope that you have a good time. If you're reading along with us,
Probably it's going to be a little while before our next episode, so.
yeah, we still have yet to figure out the schedule, haven't we? So our next episode is going to be
First Class Murder
by Robin Stevens. So thank you for joining us.
And we'll see you on the next one. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I already said that, so yeah. Bye!
That was Get a Clue, Dad, a podcast from Mysteries Ahoy. We were discussing Poison is Not Polite by Robin Stevens, which is also known as Arsenic for Tea in the UK.
Bye!